Hello. Hello again. Wow. What is ego transcendence anyway? What is that mystic wonder that you have? Well, it's a lot like what a child has. When I heard about the terrible uh, earthquakes in Haiti that left everything in rubble, and the fact that they were so poor that they were eating the dirt was part of their recipe for food. And in the midst of all that, there was a film of children who were dancing on the top of that rubble. That's the kind of youthful vivaciousness and openness to life that should be a part of everybody's life. That ability. But how is that done? Well, there's a lot of ways. In the Vedas, there are three basic approaches. One is the use of sound, and another use of concentration, and the other the use of breath. Well, there are parallels of this in many other religions in various forms. What you can do, what basically gives you that kind of vivaciousness and that childlike openness to life is that part of you that you had before language came in and interfered with that joy in you, that buoyancy, let's put it that way, to be able to bounce back and enjoy life no matter what. Also helps with learning. Children learn fast. And so they have a very open mind to the world. And language tends to get in the way of that openness. And so what needs to happen? Well, what needs to happen is that we need to get past language and experience life without the encumbrance of that language, which is something the Toltecs taught. The wisdom school from Central America and southern Mexico. These teachers thought that we should be tricked into it. The Vedas gave practices that can trick you into it. And so, what are these practices? Well, what these practices are, and if you're talking about language, one approach was to chant a phrase or a word over and over again until it had no meaning. Another way is to be creative with the sounds that you make. How do you make that happen? Well, you don't have to roll on the floor and babble incoherently, but you can make up sounds like they do in music. And it gets you outside of language. It gets you in touch with the verve and the feeling of life in yourself. So, you don't have to be crazy to do this practice. You can sing it or you can speak it. Just be creative, make up sounds, and it will trick your mind out of language perspectives and narrow views of who you are and who you will become. Look at it clearly. With a little demonstration. Just made it up. It's a trick. It sounds like maybe babies babbling. Yeah. Good triggering that memory. But it can work. It's a little less boring than repeating a phrase over and over again, if that's what you prefer. You can also sing. Singing. And the benefit of creating the sounds yourself is there's no attached meaning at all to those sounds, or less likely to be. Now, that's the creative approach. That's the use of sound. Now, another thing that you probably heard about a lot is mindfulness. Mindfulness has to do with being in touch with all of the sensations in your body. Just awareness, just concentration. And to do that all at once and let your body move with it can be very powerful. When there's an ache or a pain or something that's drawing your attention, don't run from it. Embrace it. Concentrate on it. And of course, your mind will either deal with it or get away from it. Your mind will drift. And that's fine. You just keep concentrating on the sensations of your body. And that's the best. That's the best way. When people focus on things outside themselves, but that gets tinged with concepts and language and religiosity and things you don't need. So when you concentrate in this way, it can have many other uses as well. It can help to get your endorphin system going if you're having an ache or a pain. But beyond that, again, it gets you out of language, gets you in touch with that vivacious, open to life feeling that you had as a child, hopefully. And the third approach, breath. There's nothing closer to who you really are than breath. Especially if you, like with the other things that I mentioned, throw in some emotion. Don't make it boring. Let the emotional be there. That's fine. With the breath, there's an ancient chant that they use that they say is the name of God. And Joseph Campbell talks about this. It's Aum. Sometimes expressed as OM, but actually it's AUM. And that is a useful thing to use with your breath in order to avoid any kind of language conscious inhibition of that connection with your breath. You want to. Your breath always expresses how you feel. You know, if you see somebody breathing shallowly, chances are they're frightened, they're pensive, they're looking, like what's going on. If they're breathing in heavily, it's like maybe they're very active and moving around and enjoying life. You can tell with the way people breathe, whether you're connecting to them or not, for instance. But when you're connecting to yourself, you can use this mantra with breath that isn't a word, so that you're truly focusing on your breath. And that's ah, ooh, and to make sure that you keep in connection, because you can't get away from emotion. It's just always going to be there. So do it in an emotional way, and you'll find that you can do a lot of things with this simple phrase, or sound, I should say. Ah, ooh. Yeah, okay. Could it be happy? Yeah. Ah, ooh. Could it be sad? Yeah. Ah, ooh. Can it express pain? Yeah. Express all of these things. But that's outside of language. And that connects you to your breath, which is your very survival. Now you can do the in-breath and try to say, ah, some people can do that, some people can't. Don't worry about it if you can't. But it's a great way to get in touch with yourself. There's a power of this in connection with other approaches that can take you even deeper into yourself and and help you to actually increase your emotional intelligence. But that uses language, and that'll be the subject for another time. For now, practice these things. Really get in touch with your body, your breath, and that vivacious energy and emotion that will experience that openness to life that you had when you were a child. Get it back. Doesn't matter how old you are. You can dance on the rubble of your life. You can embrace an ego transcendence that means a full openness to being alive without any impairments, judgments, or limitations planted on you by society or by language. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm kind of a goofy old man sometimes, but I do know what I'm talking about. I had to go through an awful lot to learn all of these things, but it's my joy to share it. And I hope you learn it, and I hope you share it. Open yourself to who you really are. Open yourself to the wonder, the mystical wonder of you, where you are one with all things, not attached to any static ego concept, able to be whatever, whoever in your mind. Be free. Namaste.